Fighting Nerdigans, this is the one and only Packer Girl 89 of Nerdigans Inc. and anime and manga contributor to Bounding into Comics, and this is going to be an exclusive deep dive into Anime Expo's Toxic Return. So before I get into this deep dive, let me just remind you to hit that like, share, and subscribe buttons, and because of course this channel, let alone this video, are not sponsored, and I am just a very stressed out, exhausted one woman and adorable little fuss budget kitty operation struggling to keep a roof over our heads and praying that next month me and Kitty are not going to be homeless and sleeping on the street. But if you love what we're doing, I'm going to help keep this operation alive and kicking so we can keep bringing you more anime and manga content, whether it be live reactions, news, analysis, or deep dives like this video. Feel free to hit up our Cash App and PayPal. Links are in the description box below. So, well, it's taken a little bit longer than I thought for this article to get up on the Bounding into Comics website. And I worked my ass off on this. So you guys are getting a little sneak peek on this exclusive story that I worked on. Deep diving into this nasty rabbit hole that was the health hazard, the death trap. That was Anime Expo 2022. It's probably going to go down as the worst Anime Expo in history. And the thing that's very interesting about this whole thing was I almost got to go. I got the hookup to go to Anime Expo this year, but because I'm poor, I'm worried about being homeless, and I also got a little kitty that I gotta take care of, and I have no way of getting to LA because it's like 8 hours away from where I'm at. There's no way I could go, and it was probably a good thing I didn't. Whew. Because after 2 years in lockdown, everyone was excited for this. I mean, we got great announcements from Anime Expo. I mean, I was happy that, and I covered this too, I was happy with honey lemon soda and Shy getting licensed. Oh my god, I'm so happy they're getting licensed. Oh my god. I'm so hoping to freaking gods that Manga Plus is going to simulpub these series. I mean, simulpub Oshinoko, no excuses now. And also Honey Lemon Soda and Shy are on the reader list. That's a whole different thing. Let's get back to the topic at hand. You would think that common sense would dictate that the organizers over at Anime Expo would be completely prepared for an amazing, unforgettable comeback, right? Well, instead, based on a variety of factors, and I was shooketh when I went down this rabbit hole and found out what seriously was going on behind the scenes. It's probably going to be one of the worst conventions in recent history. And there's a really hilarious joke going on Twitter. It's probably a tragic and dark joke going on Twitter that, yeah, you probably created a new variant of Corona-sama up in Anime Expo this year. But we're going to let's get to what really went down behind the scenes. So there was a very viral thread by Twitter user Heat Deacon. And I actually reached out to Heat Deacon, and I got more context of what went down behind the thread. So basically what happened is he said that his friend and her partner were vendors at Anime Expo, and they expressed they wanted Twitter to know the misconduct that was occurring behind the scenes. And the reason why they requested to remain anonymous was due to potential retaliation by Anime Expo and their parent nonprofit, the Society of Promotion of Japanese Animation. And ooh, I could get dirt on them. There's more going on with the SPGA that I could get. Oh, Heat Deacon said they could hook me up. If you guys want me to, I'll reach out to them. And also what Heat Deacon said is neither her nor her partner have active Twitter accounts, so they decided to post what was going on behind the scenes, despite not being at the convention. So the first tweet of the thread included an image of one of the entrances to the Los Angeles Convention Center, where the annual convention is held. And the first tweet said here, "Hey Anime Expo, what's up with the way your vendors are being treated? Yesterday they had to wait for people to finish chatting on their phones and smoking to check in, and now this? Oh, wait till we get into a little bit later up in here, because it was bad up in Artist Alley. And that was even on day 0. But let's keep going here. So the image that was included in the tweet was from Dakin's friends' Instagram stories that they were experiencing issues with the staff and security at the South Priority Vendors entrance. And the text in the images, in the first image, said they're forcing vendors to throw out all their food and drink out to enter, meaning those of us who don't have a big booth / don't have extra help have to go 12 plus hours without eating or drinking. Yeah, they have to go 12 plus hours without eating or drinking. Y'all blow this shit up on Twitter. I'm sick of this con. This is legitimately inhumane. Why would you do this to people? Oh my God, it's crazy. Crazy. The next tweet in this thread, he added here in this thread, is that Anime Expo, why is your staff joking about this shit? And then in the text it says, meanwhile, Anime Expo staff is joking about all the free food they're getting. The woman in white, and we got a DM from the woman in white. Dakin got a DM from the woman in white. Oh, we got stuff from her. And this picture confiscated homemade sandwiches from a vendor, then laughed at them and told the other staff members that they were going to have a bunch of free sandwiches for lunch now. What is wrong with you people? And then we get the next tweet in this thread. Forgot to add this one because my friend took a pic of confiscated food. The text in the image says here, trash food, a fucking anime con isn't worth people being forced to starve for 12 hours. Oh, again? It gets worse. Just wait. Oh, it gets worse. Now we're getting to the portion from when Dakin, when his friend attempted to initially check in to the expo on June 30th. And this is probably the least damning of what has been collected because they were supposedly on break. But the staff's way of handling the situation included behavior that points to lack of training and understanding. So this is what he tweeted. Also, one of her posts from yesterday, notice the please respect our time on the sign. They were on lunch, but she told me after they finished, they were smoking on their phones. And the text and image included in the tweet of the 2 volunteers eating states. Oh my fucking God, they won't check anybody in for an hour while they sit and eat sandwiches. The lady in the left screamed at some guy to get her a soda if he wanted to talk to her. Like, what the fuck? Wait, let me read this again. I'm sorry. The lady on the left screamed at some guy to get her a soda if he wanted to talk to her. Like, what the fuck? Welcome to Anime Expo, everybody. This is what vendors deal with at these big cons. Oh, it's not limited to this year either. From what I found, woo, it gets worse. So now let's get to this update. Get to the update here in the thread. So this is what he said next. Updating to add that my friend almost passed out and that the options are very limited. It's just her and her partner, by the way. It's a miracle she was able to leave her booth at all. And then in the image here, includes 2 muffins and bags of chips with the text, had to pay $20 for 2 muffins and 2 bags of chips because I blacked out in my booth from hunger. I never had this problem at Crunchyroll Expo, but from what it said on the Los Angeles Convention Center website, it was only for personal food. But I didn't see anything in regards to vendors, which is very interesting. But the other thing I saw up in there is that, and this is in regards to Corona-sama, which I'll get to a bit, is that the convention can make their own rules. So this is very bizarre. You would think that the convention would be smart and care about people's safety, but not. As you see later, they really don't give a shit about people's safety. If you haven't already seen it. Here's the most interesting twist here. And this is from the next portion of this thread, which is the DMs, one from the woman in white shown in the photos, and includes screenshots of the messages. So here we go. Hey, Anime Expo, you're trying to use your staff as fall guys when you did not communicate with them, and most were hired within the last week or two? You have the biggest anime con in the country. Now, this is a huge failure. Why would you do this? Why? Why would you have a huge ass anime convention. You're understaffed, and you had plenty of time to prepare for this. I'm going to say that Crunchyroll Expo, when it was in person, would I say it was this? Was it underprepared? Crunchyroll Expo in person, it wasn't like this from what I remember. But it wasn't as packed either. But so this is how we're starting off the DMs here. Hey, this is the girl in white who you put in your picture. I'm really sorry that this all happened. The communication slash information and planning that goes on in these events is so bad. I've never worked any event like this one before. And when I showed up to my shift today, the security guards told me right off the bat that no food and drink was allowed, so I started enforcing it. I really shouldn't have joked about it, and I definitely didn't mean to make anyone feel as though I was laughing at them. The picture says otherwise. I wish you had also heard that times that I and the rest of the staff there said how bad we felt about the miscommunication. The security was under the false notion that there was no food or drink allowed, and that they told me, that's what they told me when I arrived on scene. Oh, God, we'll get to this. It wasn't until it was too late that someone came and corrected us. Most of us were just hired within the week. Once I found out that we had all been mistaken and told the wrong information, we all felt bad about it. But did that stop me from being my obnoxious pick-me-girl self? Talk about it making humor of what was a bad situation from others? No. Woman, I feel like she's full of shit. The moment she says this, I feel like she's full of shit. She's trying to save her ass. Woman, you are full of shit. I call bullshit on this. When she's saying this, I'm going to go back to this. I really shouldn't have joked about it. I definitely didn't mean to make anyone feel as though I was laughing at them. Then why would you laugh at them? If you didn't mean... Woman, you are full of shit. You are full of shit. You did this shit on purpose. You are lying. You are lying. I wish you had also heard the times I and the rest of the staff were there. Staff there said how bad we felt about the miscommunication. Then why didn't you say that to the people that were there? And why didn't I see any tweets backing up your statement? I didn't see shit on this. I think you are lying and you are trying to save your ass. I can't put that in my article because that is up to you guys to decide, but this is my video, so I am giving you my opinion. And from what I saw on Twitter, I probably should include tweets, huh? Maybe I will include. Maybe I should include. I should include tweets that say that she's full of shit, or more tweets that she's full of shit. But God damn it, woman, you are full of shit. You are full of shit. There's no way. Oh God, you were full of shit. Then when she says it was too late that someone came and corrected us. Most of us were just hired within that I believe that most of them were just hired within the week. Oh, I believe that. Based on the other testimony I found, yeah, you're gonna hear. Yeah, I believe that. Once I found out that we had all been mistaken and told the wrong information, we all felt bad about it. But did that stop me from being my obnoxious pick-me-girl self, talk about it, making humor of what was a bad situation from others? No. That right there, when she says she's an obnoxious pick-me-girl self, talk about it. As soon as she says this shit, it's like, bitch, you are full of shit. You are lying when you said that you were not joking about it. Or that you felt bad about the miscommunication. Or no, she said she shouldn't have joked about it. But, and didn't mean to make anyone feel as though I was laughing at them. You are full of shit. As soon as you said that you're obnoxious, you are full of shit. That is when you are lying. Anyways. I totally understand why you folks feel undervalued and mistreated, and I have been fired. Good, like you should be. I think it was the correct decision, and I've learned a valuable lesson. No, you haven't learned a valuable lesson if you could consider yourself obnoxious. And you won't stop being obnoxious. You haven't learned shit. You're just trying to save your ass. I'm sorry about the whole situation. No, you're not. You're trying to save face. I hope you understand that while I don't speak for the Expo itself, personally as a fellow human and a worker, I see how I misbehaved, and I'm sorry for my lack of compassion towards this situation. You are full of shit. I really, really wish I had not listened to the security guards when I arrived, and that I had conferred with someone else sooner or did more investigating / research. Oh my god. Let's see. Hold on a second. Alrighty, let me make sure I am right here. Lost my spot. Okay. I lost my spot for a second. Hold on. Yeah, I'm just gigging. She said I'm just gigging. Trying to make a living out here, so I really wish I would stop getting in my own way by making these mistakes and hurting others who do not deserve to be dealing with that kind of stuff. I didn't understand why the heck we wouldn't let y'all have your food, but I thought I was just following orders. I'm so sorry. You didn't understand? Why wouldn't you ask the question? I am so lost. Why wouldn't you ask this question of why? Why wouldn't you ask the question? I'm lost on why you wouldn't ask this question. Okay. All right, so this is what else she said as well. Because Hitaken, asked her, of course, about adding her the thread and all this shit. I understand totally. To be honest, I would appreciate it because people are making comments about me being fat and other ugly stuff. Woman, you had this coming. You were a complete bitch and you were caught. You had it coming. I totally get why you guys are upset, and I feel so stupid for everything for it to happen, but I agree it was so much more to do with lack of training, lack of communication, lack of foresight on the cons part as a whole. No. But, okay, I'm going to say this. Yes, you can blame the con all you want, but it's also kind of called lack of manners and lack of decency. What the fuck is wrong with you? Take some personal accountability for yourself. I remember the moment myself, and the person whose sandwiches were taken spoke, and I did not laugh at them or make a joke. They were the ones who were so kind as to offer the sandwiches to us instead of throwing them away. And I told them I saw a sleeping homeless man outside and that I would give it to them, and we both shared some chuckles. Oh, hold on. Hold on. Let's go back to this. Let's go back to this here. Let's go back to what she said here. Let's go back to what his friend said here. They said they were eating sandwiches. And also it says the woman in white in this picture confiscated homemade sandwiches from a vendor, then laughed at them and told the other staff members that they were going to have a bunch of free sandwiches for lunch now. Bitch, you are lying. You are lying. You are a liar. You are full of shit. You are full of shit. You are full of shit. You are lying. How anyone can believe this woman after this is unbelievable. Let's see. It wasn't an ugly moment at all. I felt bad about it and about what we were doing, but I thought we had to, and when we found out we were wrong, we all felt incredibly stupid. I wish I could make it better. Bitch, you are full of shit. You are full of shit. His friend was right there. His friend was right there. He dug in. The fact that you didn't call this bitch out is very surprising. The fact that you said that this bitch shouldn't be the target, nah, she should be the target. She and the convention are both wrong for what they did. Let's see. It's not the first time this convention has neglected to train staff, apparently, which is not. We'll get to it. That's why I said the convention is at fault still. But bitch, you need to take more accountability for yourself, especially since you lied. I'm calling you out on your bullshit. You are full of shit. Because his friend literally said the woman in white in this picture confiscated homemade sandwiches from a vendor, then laughed at them and told the other staff members that they were going to have a bunch of free sandwiches for lunch now. You are lying. You are goddamn lying. Oh, God. Okay. Let's see. All right, so here's the final message from this whore. Thanks. I literally have never even been to a con. So I didn't even realize the people coming in were you are probably full of shit for that. Or vendors who wouldn't be able to eat for hours. If you are a vendor at this con and I missed your tweet, your tweet calling this bitch out, please tell me in the comments and I will add this before this article gets posted. Because this bitch has to be lying. Who would be able to eat for hours? I assumed everyone was just attending, and the reason they weren't allowed food is because they wanted to sell food indoors only. So they didn't tell you they were vendors? I think that's bullshit in my opinion. If she was there on days... No. Okay, let's keep going. I don't believe that. Okay. So in 26... So... This is before, obviously, 2019. This has been a problem for a long time at Anime Expo. Because something that Heatakin added here was an article from 2016 reporting the concerns from the artists and vendors at Anime Expo's Artist Alley that there's no air conditioning at all in Artist Alley. But I got more information on that. I have someone that verified this. But now... we got more information from current staff of what went down. So here's one that was working a line entrance at Anime Expo. Here we go. There are several levels of people who seem like they work for Anime Expo in different groups that have no contact with each other than in person on the day of the event. Security, volunteers, an event services company, aka COVID check, line entry people, volunteers. These people signed up to be there without pay, but their compensation is housing if needed and a badge. I didn't know they provided housing. Huh. Several volunteers told this person on Friday, or the Friday, they had minimal training or info. There's a third-party company that hired people with no interviews, even by Zoom, to work stations like entry lines. What? Yep. That company did a training session on Wednesday for a few hours, but the majority of the training was spent with the low-level hires just sitting around waiting for the supervisors to attempt to figure things out that they didn't know from Anime Expo or just simply hadn't planned ahead of time. kidding. The low-level hires were repeatedly told things like, if you don't know an answer, try to Google it on the FAQ on Anime Expo's website or direct the guest to the help desk. We were given very little actual info in person. Almost everyone that the attendees interact with, they aren't Anime Expo employees. There's just a huge level of disconnect. That is sad. But you know what? I ain't surprised by this. No. That's how shit is nowadays. You usually have to figure it out yourself. Or go to a higher up. At least that's how I've had to figure shit out, especially in the university system. Anyways, let's see. We're told to ask questions if anything comes up, but not all of the temporary weekend hires are being proactive at all. Now that's a problem, okay? You should be proactive in anything that you do, whether it's like a volunteer job or like I was in the education system, or like I am in my healthcare. Unfortunately, I have to be. Or in your rental agreements. Like I've had to take my landlord to court before. Not this current landlord, previous landlord. I've had to take him to court. Because I learned my rights. This is something you should do. I've had to learn my rights. I've had to I almost had to take my my employer to court before too. Because they fucking violated harassment. My manager at the time was harassing me. It was not sexual harassment. Now I should word it differently. I was being flat bullied. So yes. You should know what you're doing. You should be active and ask questions. That's why I'm like, why? You guys are part of the problem. It's not just the Expo's fault. It's your fault for letting them be complicit like this. You should be questioning everything. Like, why are you doing this? This is ridiculous. My heart was breaking today about how disorganized everything was. I did see a lot of comments online about Anime Expo 2 years to make things better. That's the only thing I'll dispute. Okay, let's get to why. For 2 years, everything in the entertainment and events industry has been turned upside down from the inside. It's completely chaotic because we never know what rules will be or events will even happen. So everything always felt tentative. My best guess is that for the majority of those 2 years, Anime Expo was probably a bare-bones tiny group of people not knowing if and when they were planning an event. Event companies everywhere lost their best staff members who couldn't afford to keep working reduced hours, so many of them switched careers. It's not uncommon for event companies to have had around 80% turnover because of COVID, which means the people making decisions are not veterans who have prior experience to build on and learn from past experiences. To end, my advice is if you know what a rule is regarding something like bringing in food or tag cosplay weapons, which line to be in, etc., and someone is telling you different, look it up on your phone on the Anime Expo website and show them exactly that this person is right. Make sure you know what's going on ahead of time, know the stuff ahead of time, and then either have it saved on your phone, or like bring it on paper. If you have it on paper with you, that's even better. Because then you could be like, see, I printed this off the Anime Expo website. These are my rights right here. You can't deny me this because it's right here. This is from your website. If you do that shit, you'll win. That's how you win every time. Gotta know your rights. Let's see. That person probably has very little training. Oh, it usually is. Sometimes they actually do have training and they're just being assholes. If they still say no, ask them to talk to a supervisor. It's not a valid excuse, but many of those line entry people were very stressed. Oh, yes, they were. They probably were. They were given little info and thrown out there and assigned short shifts, which they're making about $100 that day after taxes, and showed up to work find out that they had to pay for like $20 to $30 parking out of that from their own pocket when their supervisor said, hey, there's $10 parking across the street, park there. This is why you do your research on parking as well. Don't rely on others. Especially these people. No. All right. There's more. There's more information from a third-party staff member who confirms that Anime Expo has been a clusterfuck behind the scenes. Are you going to address any of this or pretend that your vendors and staff aren't discussing what's going on? So the third employee that came forth was from the third-party group mentioned in, the aforementioned DMs. So here we go. I'm part of the third-party group that was hired and trained on the Wednesday before. The people in charge of us were also trying to figure out what was going on, and even during training and a walkthrough, guards were very rude to us as well. The first day of the expo, I even had a hard time getting to where I was stationed, and security didn't know how I was supposed to get there, nor did the volunteers who aren't getting paid like me. We also needed to call maintenance for a spill at one point, and none of the guards knew how to call them. The fuck is going on? They continued, here we go. We also kept telling the guards that if people coming in don't have a physical badge, to send them to will call. Otherwise, we can't scan them. They haven't been telling them that, and so when they get to us right before the entrance, we have to be the bad guys and turn them away to get their badges. As this is my first time working for this expo, I gotta say, this is a complete mess, and they need to have everyone on the same page, especially since most of us have no idea where people need to go for things other than telling them to get a map. Also, about the vendors and other people like them, there are entrances for them to go through instead of the main ones like everyone has to go through. I just don't know if they know where they are. This is bad. And here's another DM that we have here. So another volunteer came forward with their experience working in the trenches at Anime Expo as well. The way they treat lower level volunteers and staff is pretty consistent with how they treat their attendees and vendors and artists. So this is what the first time volunteer said. Here we go. The lead volunteers have severe god complexes. They play favorites and are extremely fake to new volunteers. The Society for the Promotion of Japanese Animation are the higher-ups. I was working line control. We stand outside for 8 hours in the sun. Some of us were sitting since our legs were hurting. There were no There were no general attendees around, so we had nothing to do. We were told by our lead that some of the SPGA staff saw us sitting and were pissed. Well, if some of them were even if some of them were disabled, like me, they wouldn't be able to get away with that shit. Nah. I'd be like to them, look, I'm disabled. I can't stand up all day. If you got a problem with it, ADA will come for you. I know my disability rights. We were not allowed to sit or squat when on the clock. These are the same people that sit in air-conditioned areas for the entire day. Unfortunately, I was in a similar situation like that. Not in the sun, though. I was in air conditioning, and I had to stand for, the entire day. It sucked. Even in air conditioning, I hated it so much. And I was in heels, okay? Well, my heels were comfortable, mind you. But I was in heels doing it. I was in hella high heels too. But yeah, I've had to do it. It's not fun. Even in air conditioning, it's not fun. But anyways. Where is it? Additionally, though, we are a part of the ticketing department. Those working in will call and customer service were allowed to sit in air-conditioned areas and be on their phones all day. Line control and access control people are not. I could kind of understand why. But if there's, no one there, then that's kind of maybe a different story. But the uneven work distribution is completely unfair. SPGA and lead volunteer staff have no appreciation for the volunteers that work below them, especially for the ones who do the most physical labor. What else is new? That's just life. See. So this has been going on for years, okay? So this is the final, I think this is the final DM from this, and then we'll get to the other stuff. Yes. Okay, so this is the last of the volunteers, and then we'll get to the other stuff here. All right. So the final informant was a former employee. So let's go. So they used to work the early days of Anime Expo. And let me tell you something. They'd have us scrambling to beat the fire marshal, stay late hours to meet quota, wandering the streets of LA between 11 to 1 a.m., depending on where your shift ends, looking for food prior to their meal plan thing, and working areas where we were not comfortable working. Upper management was never readily available, and lower staff had to do everything by ourselves. It's only when something was done right would they show their face. Access control was a very abusive department, and we dealt with everything and anything, including sexual harassment from guys. Surprised? When reported, if not reported to LAPD, thank God these men are actually caring. Anime Expo and SPGA would not make any movements to assist in protecting us. Same thing that happened a while ago with being attacked by weirdos for starting official lines and being constantly belittled for doing our job. What else is new? When complaining about being tired, it was told that it was a part of the department and working. Yeah, that's life, unfortunately. Trust me, I had to deal with this when I was at GameStop. It sucks. God, hours were brutal, and trying to leave when your shift ended was not a thing. That happened to me, and it resulted in a class action lawsuit and $1,000. Working the con is honestly the worst, from miscommunication between LACC, LAPD, temp staff, and upper management to God Complex department leads. It's straight garbage. I learned my lesson after I had beef with the lead back then. He really thought he was the shit. Truly, he was the shit, a piece of shit. Word of advice to anyone is that they should be careful on who they talk to and what they say. People are only trying to climb on top of each other and use each other to get into higher positions. Anyway, that's one of the many, let's see. I lost my spot. Anyway, that's one of my many pieces I stay at. There we go. Let's see. Also, not to mention the hiring and the difference between staff, volunteers, and temps provided by LACC. Temps get hired on only a few days before the con with minimal training. They usually come ask Anime Expo staff things. Volunteers come through if they want to, from being a regular con goer to a volunteer staff. They get no benefits, maybe a badge refund or something like that. They get trained for whatever department they work for that day. So that they literally only have training for that department. Staff are the ones who get most of the benefits, such as hotel and stipend. They too sometimes are hired for a few days before the con and go through a very rushed training. I'm not making any excuses for them or anything like drag the fuck out of this con for being disorganized, but there's several different levels. I don't blame anyone below department leads. I'd say you gotta blame. You gotta take some personal accountability, but to an extent. But anyways, here we go. We got some vendors here. So one of the vendors at Anime Expo said that here's what they said. I had to sit near the stairs and chug my sandwich because I'm not about to go without breakfast. I was never told not to bring food either. We are working all day and can't have our can't leave our booths, and they wanted to starve us. Here's another vendor here. What they said, Single Sploot said, was one of who was one of the many vendors in Artist Alley who had their food confiscated. Said this: said I had to dump all my PB and J sandwiches and bagel sandwiches after spending money. It just had to be spent. Just to have it to spend even more money on food in the convention center that took Grover and a half to get. Ugh. Another artist vending at Artist Alley, Carnival Rhythms tweeted this. Not to mention, this year's vendors weren't allowed into the hall for at least an hour, which meant premiere fans were inside walking by our stock unprotected while we were stuck outside because the fire marshal wouldn't let anyone in for the time, for that time. Not even artists / vendors / industry. Speaking of, Fire Marshal, why the fuck didn't you just shut down the con, period? Why? Considering what you're going to see later, this should have been shut down. And Anime News Network actually tweeted footage of the convention center and the fire marshal denying people entry into the convention center. And considering the violations that occurred in Artist Alley in particular, the Anime Expo was really lucky that it was not shut down. They are fucking lucky as hell. So one of the writers and editors for comicbook.com reported that even, as one of the other tweets said, that even press were affected by the Expo's blunders. This is what she tweeted. While at it, can you please figure out priority entry lanes? Both West and East halls were letting everyone in ahead of industry, exhibitors, premieres, and press members when we needed to get to interviews and booths. The security said they had never heard of priority lanes. The fuck? This is insane. This is insane. So now we're going to get into something really, really frustrating. And one of the attendees, Kazunagacha, had a really ugly run-in with security, an unnecessary one. It was not pleasant. Nope. So this is what they said. Anime Expo, my experience today with con security, and I know others who also purchased standees were treated horribly. Please do something about your staff and look at past incidents from this weekend. I know I'm not the only one, and this is at VTuber Sundaria_US. And the images, so this is what Kazunagacha elaborates on his run-in with the security and with the Anime Expo security. So on my way out today, a security guard stopped me and told me that I had to come with him and to take the Kazuni standee that I bought from the Sundaria booth. He told me I stole it, and I thought he was joking, so I told him to back off, and then another security guard grabbed me on the shoulder, yanked me around, and said, then you're going to be explaining this to the LAPD. I'm dead serious. That is what this says. All right, this is what they said next. After I realized that they were serious, I told them that I bought it and even showed the receipt as proof that I didn't steal him. But they didn't believe me and said it could have been from anything. So he had to take me to the booth that had the standee taken from them, and I was just sobbing uncontrollably. And of course, once we got to the booth, they immediately confirmed that it wasn't the stolen standee. The booth staff apologized to me, and even though it wasn't their fault, but security didn't want to be responsible for being in the wrong. And yeah, they didn't want to be responsible for being in the wrong and how much distress they caused me. And of course, Kazune was handled roughly by the security and bent in half completely. I spent so much money for him to only be beaten up by the end of the day. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Anime Expo, you better have given him, like, a new standee. Or, like, you gotta refund this man his money. That's fucked up. So here's this in the second image. Again, once this is up on Bounding into Comics, I will post the link to the article. Trust me. This is just a sneak peek. You're getting a sneak peek right now. I'm reading this article, giving you my thoughts on it, and for this deep dive, and then once it's up, you will get the link to it up in my description box. So there we go. And the second image is with the standee. By the way, Con Security thought Kazune was the stolen standee from the exhibit hall, and they grabbed us pretty roughly and had to take us to the booth to prove it's not him. The booth wasn't at fault at all, by the way. I just wish security wasn't so rough with me. I cried so hard, poor baby. Like, the poor standee, too. Like, come on. And thanks to Anime Expo Con Security for grabbing me so hard for a cardboard standee that I started to bruise. And Kazune looks nothing like the character, too. I think he's talking about the character that was that they were looking for that was being stolen. Let's see. Here we go. Here's the next tweet in the thread. Even in any other situation, it's not okay to have staff roughly treat anybody this way. And even going as far as to damage personal property, I can't help but feel sad that all my hard-earned money went into getting him is just a sour memory now. And even another, this is where it gets really fucked up. You mofos talk about police brutality and all this shit. This is where it's fucked up right here. And this mofo should be held accountable. And you should pay for a new standee for this guy. Even another security guard told him that it wasn't the stand that was taken, and even as a picture. But he refused and still took me with it. What the fuck is wrong with you, Anime Expo? That man should have been fired on the spot. So now here we go. Poorly trained staff are not the only issues plaguing Anime Expo. Throughout Anime Expo, several attendees and vendors documented the unsanitary conditions at the Los Angeles Convention Center on Twitter. Again, why the fire marshal or hell, even the Los Angeles Health Department, why the fuck you didn't at least find the hell out of them, let alone condemn this death trap, is unbelievable. I know you guys need the money, so why you didn't do it is beyond me. So Twitter user the Lost Lila confirmed the unsanitary conditions at Anime Expo. Attendee yesterday certainly didn't feel like the air was on. It was incredibly hot and overcrowded. Drinking vending machines in the halls were empty by the middle of the afternoon and never restocked. And two of the restrooms I went to were out of seat covers and trash overflowing. That is disgusting and unsanitary. What is wrong with you? Anime Expo, what is wrong with you? Also, LA, what is wrong with you? You want to prevent COVID? Again, Corona-sama aside. What the hell is wrong with you, LA? Don't you want money? Doesn't your city want money? Let alone to prevent Corona-sama, which the cases are up, especially with the new subvariants of Omicron. But again, Corona-sama aside, this is a major health hazard and should have been shut down. And additionally, this is where it gets worse. The last Lola tweeted this too. Kept getting kicked out of areas to sit by staff, even though we needed frequent breaks due to the overheating and the crowds. Pretty much nowhere to sit but the floor if you got food. That is unsanitary. Fire Marshal, you are a failure for not shutting down this con. You are a failure for this. You should be fired for this. LA, you are a failure. Well, LA, you know what? You're a failure anyway, LA, because you haven't fucking recalled your shitty-ass DA. At least San Francisco recalled their DA. What's your excuse? So we got another Twitter user here. And then, guess what? This Twitter user got COVID as well. The Exat tweeted this. Can't confirm this was an issue on Friday. A friend got low-level heat stroke and had to leave early, and yesterday was not great. It was somewhat better today from what I hear. Too bad for this guy, he got COVID. Yeah, he got COVID. And this is in response to the 2016 article. Ingenious actually was one of the vendors at Artist Alley during Anime Expo 2016, and this is what they said. Yikes, I was vending at AX 2016's Artist Alley when the air conditioning wasn't on. I remember someone getting a heat stroke and EMTs going through the aisle to attend to them. So again, COVID aside, this is not the first this is not the first time shit like this has happened. This has been a problem. And Anime Expo, you not solving this is a huge issue. What is going on? And again, I'm going to say this about Crunchyroll because I've been to Crunchyroll Expo 2018 and 2019. Crunchyroll may not be the best company in the world, but I did not see this type of problem in Crunchyroll Expo 2018 or 2019. Nope. I'm going to tell you right now, though, this year's Crunchyroll Expo in person has regressed, and I'm pissed, but I'm glad I'm not going because it's more expensive, and I would be a complete outcast there. There's no reason for me to be there. 2019 was great. 2019 was peak Crunchyroll Expo. Yeah, it was crowded, and yeah, I will admit that I had to sit on the floor. Well, I was sitting on the floor because I was waiting in line, but But it wasn't like this at Anime Expo. Nah, they had the AC on. And there was better ventilation. All right, let's keep going here. So now let's get to this Twitter user, Chimile, who really gave us a lot of info here about their past experience with the con. So I'm going to chime in on this as someone who attended Anime Expo in the past, because it was supposed to be the best con in the country, and it was the most disappointing con I have ever attended in my life. They don't train anyone. They also don't follow the law. Hello, fire code violations. There's honestly so many people in attendance that all the fire codes are out the window. Again, Fire Marshal, where the fuck are you? Y'all are touching shoulders and butts the entire time you're there. Again, you did not have this at Crunchyroll Expo. As much as I hate you, Crunchyroll, for certain things, Crunchyroll Expo, we never had this issue. And if you've been to Crunchyroll Expo, you know this. The AC won't help with that many people. Cosplayers, please be mindful and let your friends cool you down with the ice cold water, because you most likely will get heat stroke or exhaustion just from the combo of heat and sheer staggering amounts of people. This con should literally be renamed the Line Con, because all you can ever do is wait in line for oh my god, for something you'll never see. More on that. Let's see. I went back in 2016, and this shit has never improved. How do I know? Because my artist friends go every year to sell their lovely merch and tell me how insane the sheer amount of people is. Back in 2016, I waited in a 6-hour line to get into a Persona 5 panel. I got in, but I saw the last 5 minutes, and it was literally commercial for a P5 themed food from a food truck outside. Again, I did not have this issue at Crunchyroll Expo. That's because there was not as many people there. Nah, they didn't oversell the con like you idiots did. 2019 was definitely the one. Again, as I said, 2019 was the one to go to, because you had the mangaka from Shokugeki no Soma there, and Junji Ito. You still didn't have this problem. Let's see. They didn't even wait to fill the entire room up with folks from the line before starting the panel. That is fucked up. You don't do that. And none of the staff knew which line was the priority line that people pay. That people pay shitloads extra for on their tickets to bypass the lines. The people running the lines had no clue. They had to pull from booth lines to keep it fair, because no one could tell them on their walkie. And let me say this. They do not cap sales. Building capacity? What's that? That is a huge issue. Again, Crunchyroll Expo does not do that. They concluded, and this is what it says here. That's why no matter what, every year Anime Expo is so overcrowded. I mean, you're basically paying that much money to cosplay, be miserable in the heat, how long everything takes, all the damn lines, and access a killer artist alley so y'all don't waste your time. It's not worth. This really frustrates me. And Los Angeles County Health Department and Fire Marshal, where the fuck are you to shut this down? Again, Kurono-sama aside, this has been going on for longer than that. Where are you? Why aren't you shutting this down? Anime Expo, you are lucky that you are still allowed to run your fucking convention. So this is what another Twitter user told us, actually. They tagged us and tweeted this to us. They've attended Anime Expo for 5 years, between 2010 and 2015. So here we go. I would like to say 20 to 2015, when I attended, the attendance was a lot less, but it was still bearable even though it wasn't organized. So even between 2010 and 2015, it was still unorganized. However, Artist Alley was on the upstairs floor with air conditioning. Once 2016 hit, it was like someone flipped a switch. Attendance was massive. Artist Alley was moved downstairs with no air conditioning, and volunteers, although trying to help, admitted to not knowing what the fuck was going on. So So 2016 was where shit went wild. God, 2016, just everything went fucking wild, including the lolly censorship movement. Oh, there'll be a video on that, trust me. I remember being in a crowded hallway waiting for a panel door to open and people shoving each other to try and get to the front, causing people to fall and start screaming at each other. Even then, a volunteer had opened a door on the other side, so no one in our useless line got in. At that moment, I was like, I'm not wasting any more money on this convention. Getting into panels was difficult in 2016 as well. This is insanity. Why would you do this? Anime Expo? Again, I might have to reach out to this person. I was told, Hidakin told me that there's a person that messaged him, they have connections with, that reached out to them, that I'm probably going to have him reach out to for me, that was saying that San Diego Comic-Con, they don't take Anime Expo seriously. Oh. They can't stand Anime Expo. But anyways. So what about the convention center's COVID policy? Because remember, that shit was wild for a minute. So let's get to LA Convention Center's policy first, because that's important. So masks are now optional at the LA Convention Center regardless of vaccination status. As a personal choice, guests are always welcome to wear a mask. So now, as of April 1st, 2022, the revised LA Department of Public Health health officers order aligns with the California Public Health Beyond the Blueprint guidance and lifting the requirement for attendees to provide vaccination verification or proof of negative test at indoor mega events. So technically in LA, you didn't need a vaccination, proof of vaccination, and you technically don't need a mask either. You don't. But however, the LA County Department of Public Health continues to strongly recommend masking, vaccination verification, or negative test screening as best practices at large events. Especially if you're going to oversell an event like this, yeah, it might be smart to at least, well, I'm going to say this. If you are, let's see, what's the wording I'm looking for? If you are immunocompromised, you gotta mask up when you're going into an event like this. You should mask up, period. If you're immunocompromised, you should mask up. But anyways. But here's where it gets interesting. Event organizers may choose to develop health and safety protocols that are stricter than current public health guidance. Despite what the LA Convention Center website says, the attendees are required to comply with health and safety protocols at the event they are attending. So keep that in mind when we go into this portion. So originally, what Anime Expo's COVID policy was going to be was, face coverings, masks will still be required inside the LA Convention Center. We will no longer be requiring proof of vaccination or negative test for entry. But after pressure from from people on Twitter, they changed it. And it says here, of course, well, face cover. Oh God, I probably got to fix this. Yeah, I gotta transcribe this. Note to self, gotta transcribe this. While face coverings will still be required inside the LA Convention Center, we will no longer be requiring proof of vaccination or negative test for entry. Face coverings must fit snugly and properly, fully covering your nose and mouth and secure under your chin. So no chin diapers. After massive backlash, the Anime Expo official Twitter account tweeted, "Anime Expo family, we hear you. We have reinstated our previous COVID-19 policy requiring both proof of vaccination or negative test and face coverings for entry, and this policy is final." So on the first day of the convention, Anime Expo's official Twitter account tweeted, "Remember to wear your mask indoors. You will not be allowed entry into exhibit hall and panels, and SPJ will not be providing masks. Stay safe." Why? Why will you not be providing masks when this is a requirement to enter? You have all these people, paying a shit ton of money to come to this convention. You should at least have the decency to provide masks for people that may have forgotten. You don't have to provide N95 masks. You could just provide, just masks. Shit, you could do really cool special, how you could really do something cool and maybe encourage people to wear masks in your convention is, I don't know, do limited edition reusable Anime Expo masks. And yes, there are reusable masks that you can wash, and there's filters that you could put in there. They're kick-ass filters, by the way. I have them. I have Jujutsu Kaisen washable masks that have these really powerful filters that you put in there. You could have done something cool like that, but no, you didn't do that. Why? Could have put that in your swag bag. You guys are fucking dumb for that. However, according to several vendors and attendees, the con's COVID policies were not even being enforced. No, you did all this shit for clout, and you didn't even fucking enforce this shit. Nope. One of the artist vendors in Anime Expo's Artist Alley, Abby Starling, tweeted this. So how about actually enforcing this by not enforcing your own policies? Is this not a breach of contract? That is actually a legitimate question. Say it, forget it, write it, regret it. Another Anime Expo attendee up at Melted Ice Cubes tweeted this. It's actually so cursed that Anime Expo has this sign at all the checkpoints, but not only do attendees they don't care. No, they don't care and walk through maskless, but staff, both con security and Anime Expo staff, are also unmasked. What the fuck? I've been so stressed this entire con. And the sign says masks and COVID-19 verification wristbands required for entry. Look, I'm not the biggest fan of masks. I'm not the biggest fan of the vaccine verification. But I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to drink my drink while I'm doing this. My mom was on a cruise with my stepdad, who is immunocompromised. They've been masking. You had to be fully vaccinated to go on these cruises. You have to be up to date, have a verification test, all that shit. But they still mask and they still practice, social distancing and all that. No COVID. Other people on their ship didn't mask, didn't practice social distancing, all that shit, or, didn't, I don't know what else they didn't do, but they got COVID. COVID is not over. Sorry, Corona-sama is not over. It's not. I know there's people that are going to be tinfoils and say Corona-sama don't exist. I'm telling you, it does exist. It's gonna keep mutating. It's in the same realm or same family as AIDS, where it's just gonna keep mutating. That's just the type of virus that it is. If you deny this, then that's just fucking dumb. But will these policies help? Well, the way Anime Expo handled this, even if they enforced the mask and wristbands and all that crap, oh, just wait. What they did, it wouldn't have helped even if they were masked. You'll see why. Throughout the duration of Anime Expo, Twitter user Nickelpin used an ARNet-4 device to document the CO2 levels throughout the LA Convention Center. And out of all the convention locations, Nickelpin documented CO2 levels. They were consistently the highest at Artist Alley, located in Kentia Hall. Remember what was said earlier, that it went from being upstairs with AC up until 2016 to downstairs, where Kentia Hall is basically a parking lot, a former parking lot, a converted parking lot. But here we go. In her first attempt into Artist Alley on the first day of Anime Expo, Nickelpin tweeted this: CO2 rate from the downstairs crowd of Artist Alley. I felt rather abrupt. I left rather abruptly as it soared past 2,400. So this is taken from outside. The ceilings are lower, and air exchange rate is much less efficient than the exhibit hall. That is really fucking high. You'll see why when we get to the bottom for the reference. Prior to entering Artist Alley on day 3, Nickelpin documented how even the restrooms aren't safe. So it was the CO2 levels were at 3515 ppm in the women's restroom outside to the right of Exhibit Hall and above Kentia. Really, please don't take your mask off in here. I don't know if the mask. You better have a really good mask. You can't have a cheapo mask if you're doing this. Nah, you gotta have a really good mask. So now we at the CO2 levels inside of Artist Alley. So going inside Artist Alley and Kentia Hall, 4,202 ppm. 5,000, I think, is like when it's really starting to hit like CO2 poisoning. That is dangerous. And then here we go. So then we're at 4740 ppm at the second to last row of Artist Alley. She's been wearing an elastomeric N95 this whole time, but she said, I'm going to quarantine for my friends and family when I go home just in case, which is actually pretty smart. Because the thing is, though, they aren't masked, but even if you're masked, it don't matter because there's not any ventilation. That's the problem. If there was ventilation up in here, it'd be a little bit different. There's no ventilation. This is just like a death trap. Corona aside, this is a death trap. A death trap. You're just asking to die. Later in the day, Nickelpin compared the CO2 levels in Artist Alley to the hallway between the doors of Kentia Hall, which had lowered to 4,171 ppm. And they noted that they compiled with the Anime Expo mask policy by wearing, as I said, throughout their time with the Expo. Yes. So here we go. So here's what it is throughout the 3 days. In 3 days, they went to Kentia Hall, Exhibit Hall, the Entertainment Hall, panel and Petrie Hall, panel and main events, plus the JW Marriott lobby, second floor waiting for the Platinum Ballroom, and panel and Platinum Ballroom. And they did not do any other events at Anime Expo. So here we go. So at the exhibit hall, there was a big difference in the readings at the Bandai Namco area between day 1 and day 3. It started off strong at around 800 and 900 ppm, which is what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to, the best ideal one, CO2 levels is supposed to be like around 800, maybe lower than 800. By day 3, it was consistent with the rest of the show floor at 1300 to 1400 ppm. That is dangerous. Let's see. Most of the exhibit hall show floor on day 3 from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. remained around 1400 to 1500 ppm. But there's an area of the exhibit hall that seemed to get to 1700 to 1800 plus ppm. They didn't go to like the back. It was like a corner that they were at. So they don't know. So out of all the areas, on all the days, the entire basement level had the worst CO2 measurements, including the lobby as well as the walkways and the escalators to get to that basement level. The Artist Alley was the worst of the basement. And after the expo, they tweeted the image of their ARNet 4 quick start guide, read the CO2 level to cognitive function during their own experience. So based on the readings they documented throughout their duration at Anime Expo, indoor qualities were consistently at dangerously high levels at Artist Alley. So here's what it is. So 420 ppm is like fresh outdoor air. 420 to 999 ppm is like optimal quality, optimal air quality indoors. So at 1000 ppm, that's brain cognitive functions decreases by 15%. It says it's average, but here's where it gets unhealthy, and this is where it's scary. Starting at 1400 ppm, the brain cognitive functions decreases by 50%. The quickest way to lower the CO2 level in your living or working space is by opening the window or turning on the ventilation. Remember what was said, that there was speculation that the air conditioning wasn't on in Artist Alley? Yeah, that kind of confirms it, doesn't it? And you understand what I mean, that this is a death trap. Artist Alley was basically a fucking death trap. It was a breeding ground for COVID, or for Corona-sama. It was. That is a death trap. That's a petri dish. And what she said, based on, her functions during her cognitive function during her own experience at, Anime Expo, it regrettably sounds right. But this is what also she said. I probably spent more, good quarter of my con time this weekend in rooms that made me 50% more challenged than normal. So we got some responses here to this too. I know this video is so long, but I said this was going to be a deep dive. This is a deep dive. I'm telling you, I spent a hella time investigating this shit. So deal with it. So there was an Anime Expo attendee that said this. I wonder why who was it? Numaset said this. I wonder why every time I went there in Artist Alley, it made me feel dizzy and sleepy while I walked there. It was really hard to look them. And then, here we go. Another artist who vendored at Anime Expo's Artist Alley, Hikaizo, tweeted about the lack of enforcement at Anime Expo as well. We're eating breakfast and these assholes next to us are trying to sneak their friend a vaccination wristband into the con. Yeah, so what about that? Partner told him how easy it is to get your own wristband, and he responds with, "Oh, I didn't know." While his friends are like, we just thought it was funny. And this is and this is why I put this here, because I think this is very important. They describe the symptoms, she experienced from the unhealthy CO2 levels in Artist Alley. I was getting vertigo, lightheaded, and ringing in my ears every day that I left Kentia Hall. I've never experienced anything like this in the dozens of conventions I've been to. Not to mention only half of the attendees were masked at a time. Artist Alley staff this year was much more understanding. They were kind to us, but ultimately they seemed severely understaffed. That's a problem. And I don't blame them for not being able to handle mask enforcement. This is a manpower issue that should have been managed by SPGA's management, which apparently, based on what we've seen, they don't do shit. Imagine trying to enforce masks as volunteers with very little support from the organization you work for. They don't even have masks to give out. And this was like when she was quote tweeting the Anime Expo tweet about remembering to wear your mask indoors when they are not even giving out any masks. See, Anime Expo, you missed an opportunity here. And according to artist Ivory Ice, Kentia Hall was unsafe. This is what I was talking about earlier. From the start, because day zero, what they said. I felt so terrible. Shortly after beginning to set up, I had to sit for over an hour because I felt like I was going to throw up / head was beating. That is a huge problem. That was a sign that this was dangerous from the start. It took me an hour to press 30 buttons, which if anyone knows how wild that sounds since, since I can reduce buttons pretty quickly. Another artist in Artist Alley, Fox's Estacado, documented the chaos occurring on the Artist Alley floor throughout the convention. And I included, when the article goes up, you'll see the video for it. he tweeted, "Unfortunately, I also found out that I got COVID at Anime Expo. I'm angry. I avoided COVID for 2+ years by masking, avoiding crowds, and getting vaccinated/boosted. This convention was supposed to be mask required, but it wasn't enforced." And then he added this: "The current COVID variants are extremely vaccine evasive." Again, this is something that my mom, who was a nurse at UCSF for 30 years, and I knew this like, when was this? When did I watch the lecture on this from UC Davis? I think this was in 2021. I think this was either in like late 2020 or 2021. There was a stream I watched from UC Davis Research, and they were saying that with the vaccinations, that you were going to have to get them every 6 months because of the vaccine, because that's how the vaccines work. They weren't going to be that effective. Novavax, I'm not sure. The MR, which I'm going to get. I'm getting Novavax. I've not gotten any of the vaccines yet because I've been waiting for Novavax, but I've not gotten COVID either because I have been safe. Yes. But anyways, let me get back to my point here. The point is, as I said, Corona-sama is a wild beast. She mutates. Constantly mutates. And, like any virus, they become immune to vaccines. Well, any virus, any RNA virus, they become immune to vaccines. And that's why. That's why. But anyways. Even so, the COVID verification done at Anime Expo was extremely cursory. Another huge problem was the lack of indoor ventilation. We were so hot in Artist Alley. But that's the thing. The lack of indoor ventilation is why even masked, it wasn't going to do anything. You could be masked and you could be freaking vaccinated all you want, but if there's no ventilation, you're screwed. You ain't gonna get anything. You're gonna get Corona-sama no matter what. You're gonna get a shit ton of diseases. More than just Corona-sama, you're gonna get sick, period. Because of lack of ventilation. As you can see from the sheer density of people attending this sold-out con, masking enforcement would have been necessary. Well, ventilation would have been necessary. Since I saw none, I estimate only about 50% of attendees were masked. And then Ivory Ice was one of the many artists from Artist Valley that tested positive for COVID. The Anime Expo variant, as many are calling it. I tried my best to be safe at Anime Expo, but it wasn't enough with those conditions. I'm doing okay so far, just a sore throat and a small cough. And these people did tweet their COVID test, by the way. Oh, I almost forgot. Maki, VP of IG Productions, she got COVID too. So, Linarum Art, who has illustrated work for Disney, Wizards of the Coast, and DreamWorks, and was one of the many vendors who tested positive for COVID. And Corona-sama hit him so bad from Anime Expo, they ended up in the ER. Is that serious? Yeah, earn some money and pays it out for the ER. Yeah. So a VTuber, Phoebe-chan, also contracted Corona-sama at Anime Expo. Fortunately, I tested positive for COVID. Just had one of the worst fevers of my life. So I had a feeling. I've been quarantining at my parents' house the past few days before I head home once negative. If we interacted at Anime Expo, please get tested and stay safe. Even wearing N95s, see, this is what I mean. Even wearing N95s throughout the entirety of the expo didn't stop artist Loki Roki from contracting Corona-sama. So got COVID from Anime Expo, wore N95 masks all weekend, even without AC on day one. A very fuck you to Anime Expo for not enforcing any masking like they promised to. Masking was not going to stop you from No, you needed ventilation up in there. You were going to get COVID, masked or not, because of the lack of ventilation. That's just how it is. Or, well, the lack of, maybe, COVID testing. But the other thing is, and someone pointed this out as well, is there could have been someone at VidCon that was held there previously, before Anime Expo, that had Corona-sama as well. So there is that. Another artist who vendored in Artist Alley from Coleco, they made a very interesting point. I want to point this out. He confirmed one of his helpers contracted the virus, and he said this: "Hey guys, just a general reminder to get tested for COVID after Anime Expo. One of my helpers tested positive yesterday. So far, the rest of us are coming up negative, but we will continue to quarantine and test for the next few weeks. I have done 10 conventions in 21 to 2022 without getting COVID and know how to minimize personal COVID risk. There is nothing that can be done, however, if the percentage of maskless is high and the air circulation is poor." I'm emphasizing this more than the maskless. You ain't gonna stop Corona-sama when the air circulation is poor like this and you have CO2 levels, extremely high CO2 levels, to the point where it's almost like CO2 poisoning. You're not going to stop Corona-sama. No. On top of that, you have overcrowding like that. Anime Expo, you are seriously irresponsible. And I really hope that there is a class action lawsuit from these artists. You better hope there isn't a class action lawsuit. Artists and Artist Alley, if you were smart, I would file a class action lawsuit on Anime Expo because they put your lives in danger. They did. They violated multiple health codes in Los Angeles County, and not just the county, in the state. So based on everything, I would file a class action lawsuit against their asses. That's what I would do if I were you artists. Shit, based on what I've been seeing, you probably could go, because with GameStop, when I got my class action lawsuit money, I think you could go. I'm trying to think how far back you can go. Because I know for mine, it was at least a 3-year period for me. I would at least try and get this one. There's plenty of evidence here. You guys need to cash in on this. Because you got Corona-sama, you got the fire marshal failing to do their job, you got plenty of evidence here with the CO2 levels, and you got this shit with the people stealing your food, confiscating your food. Seriously, artists and vendors from Anime Expo that were at Anime Expo, do the right. If you can look, you could try and find a pro bono, but I would, if you can find a way to lawyer up and sue their asses and get a class action lawsuit going, I would totally do it. You got a class action lawsuit on your hands. I'm very curious what you guys think. I know this video ended up a lot longer than I thought. I know it ended up being a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. But I'm really curious what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, what you guys think. And remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Nerdigans Inc. Love what we're doing and want to help keep this channel alive and kicking so we can keep bringing you more content, whether it be deep dives, live reactions, or news and analysis for anime, manga, manga, and whatnot. Few ways you could do that. Donate to our Cash App, PayPal, Patreon, purchase something off the Amazon wishlist, all that's in the description box below. Also, make sure you follow us on Twitter, Twitch, Discord, friend us on PlayStation Network. That is in the description box below as well. Till next time, Nerdigans, I will be seeing you later.